I just wanted to say a few words about our recent trip and our band boosters club, most of which are here tonight. Some were too sick to come, literally. I think the kids caught the flu, a couple of them, and the flu went around and made its rounds through 2 planes and 3 charter buses. I wanted board members, Mr. Superintendent and Mr. Assistant Superintendent, to come before you and to thank everyone for their support. I especially wanted to thank a few people, without whose help we could not have done what we have done. And most importantly, our students wouldn't have gotten the opportunity that they've gotten in going to New Orleans and many, many other places and many other opportunities that they've gotten year in and year out. I specifically want to thank, foremost, Ms. Baker, and she's here today in our audience. Her dedication to the band students is relentless, it's tireless, it's ongoing, and just watching her is exhausting. Through her hard work and dedication, our students are able to get some invaluable experiences in their high school age or years, and because of that, I think that they go on to be better adults and better members of our community and communities beyond ours. And I just really wanted to say thank you to her, because she certainly doesn't get paid enough to do what she does, because she goes above and beyond everything she could possibly be expected of her as a teacher and being paid. Again, please, a huge welcome. I also want to thank Mr. Preciado, who's sitting quietly over there. He has been absolutely helpful, meeting with us at different board members' homes late at night, leaving his family to go on this trip, paying his own way on this trip, helping us march, helping us care for students, helping us chaperone, because he had his own group that he chaperoned. He didn't just go as an administrator, he went chaperoning. And I can't say enough about all his efforts. He doesn't even have a student, he doesn't have a child of his own in the band anymore, and he still went. He didn't leave me alone, and I'm very thankful. My partner in crime. He could have left, but he didn't. He stuck it out with us, and he helped us through this trip because he knew that some of us didn't know what we were doing. I've been with the band for several years now, but I've never helped orchestrate an event of this nature. 164 bodies traveled to New Orleans on our watch. And Mr. Preciado, we could not have done it without you, so thank you. We also have an amazing board, like I said, some of which are here. I'm not going to name them all because I don't want to leave out the ones that are not here, but I will tell you this, we have an amazing team of ladies and gentlemen, and again, we couldn't do any of what we do for the students without all of their help. All of these people, please understand, have full-time work or have other things that keep their time, and we appreciate their efforts and time towards our kids. They dedicate evenings, they dedicate nights, they dedicate weekends. We meet at all sorts of hours, and things like keeping the accounting for this trip was a grueling effort. And Ms. Roman, we are blessed to have you with us. Ms. Hernandez, we are also very blessed to have her with us. These two ladies kept every student accounted for in terms of money. And I don't know if anyone here understands what that takes, but it is a lot of work. We fundraised for about 1.5 years, is that correct? Sometimes we had a fundraiser, one per month, and they kept track of 130 something students' fundraisers and donations and payments, and I don't know how they did it. And they still kept their math right, and they were on it. Every time one parent needed a balance, they were there. So thank you ladies very, very much. On this trip, we had 131 students traveling and 30 full-time chaperones. Again, those were all parents, some of us board members, but a lot of parents who hadn't done this very often and who had to get some training and who had to learn fast. The learning curve was steep. Um, I don't know how educators do it. I love my children, but I would never be able to be an educator. My respects to any and all educator, because it takes a lot of patience and a lot of commitment and love to the work that you do in dealing with so many children. These chaperones cared for our children, helped feed our children, helped clothe them, and even carried around bags of medicine and remembered to give them medications, because some of them were already going sick but didn't want to leave, didn't want to stay behind. They wanted to be there. So they facilitated this trip even for the 6 students. My husband was there, and I want to thank him for his efforts, because he left his practice for 5 days to go with us and to care for 131 students, coming and going. There was times where he didn't have enough hands and enough feet to care for all of them, so a few of us jumped in to help, but it was all in his direction, and I'd like to give him a round of applause. Thank you very much, Dr. Flores. I'd also like to thank the administrator who did go. She took on quite a responsibility, and boy, did she have her work cut out for her towards the end. Ms. Adrienne Rodriguez, she was a great help to us, and we really appreciated her joining us. Also, we appreciate Mr. and Mrs. Nugent, who were there. They helped wrap kids, sometimes with a twisted ankle, or hurt drummers with their wrists. So they were also very, very helpful on our trip, and we'd like to thank them. I'd also like to talk about the trip and all that the kids managed to absorb during the trip. They went to Preservation Hall. They learned about the origins of jazz and the importance of music. They learned, when they went to the World War II Museum, they learned about how the war affected our country, how our country became involved, and more importantly, they got hands-on learning in that they got to meet, some of them got to meet World War II veterans. And I think that in watching their facial expressions, I can assure you that they felt his experiences when he was telling them, especially when they realized that when he was helping defend our country and helping our country's cause abroad, he was 17 years old. I think that brought it home to all of them, and I think that those experiences are invaluable to our students. Those are the kind of things that our students were able to gain through their trip to New Orleans. It was beautiful that they were marching. It was beautiful that they were, you know, out there getting those cheers and all those accolades, but they also learned quite a bit. So I wanted to make that very clear to everyone here in our community. And lastly, I wanted to thank the community as a whole. Without their support, we would not be able to take as many students on these trips. A lot of their students are low-income students. And without that support, either by buying fundraising items or by just sheer donations, some of our parents were so vigilant in their support of their students, they were able to pay for the entire trip, $1,800 or $1,850 through donations. That's impressive when you think that it's a small community and that there's 130-something students out there trying to scavenge for support as best they can, because most of our students are low income and they cannot afford this trip on their own. So this is a list of all the businesses, and I'd like to read them very, very quickly if I could. Advanced Eye Care, Optometry, Alfred Distributing Company, Ametsa LLC, Annabella Alvarez, Arturo Alvarez, Azusa Farms, Burns & Sons, Ferguson Beer, CCPOA, Centinela, Charles and James Kemp, Chief Loera, Clark Baker Music, David Ugarte, Derek Wong, Diana Moreno, Donald Klein, Professional Law Corporation, EAS, Carside, El Toro Export, El Toro Land and Cattle, George Medina, Granite Construction, Hidalgo Society, Our Photo, Hutchinson and Bloodgood, Imperial Ag LLC, Imperial Stores International Farm Services, Ima Avila, Jessica Garcia, Jesus Barriga, Johnny's Burritos, Georgia Central Supplement, Implement Company, Keithley Williams Seeds, Lenderman and Salorio Attorney at Law, Linda Evans, Lucky Recycling Group, Manzanos Harvesting Incorporated, Maria Lazos, Mark Myers, Martin Hydroblasting Services Incorporated, Mass International Incorporated, McNeese Brothers Oil Company Incorporated, Mexicali Chicken and Salad, Neuro Spine and Headache Pain, Nicole Rojas, Pitmaster Services, Desert Valley, Race, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that. Properties and Company Incorporated, Pyramid Construction and Aggregates, Randy LaSalle, Ricardo Medina, Richard Gutierrez, DDS, Riverside Distributing, Rogers and Rogers, Nissan, Rogers and Rogers, Toyota, Rolling R Enterprises Incorporated, Rosalia, Morales Bookkeeping Tax Services, Rotary Club of El Centro, Roy Klein Allen, Sanders Incorporated, Sarah Rosas, SCT Transport, Cedia Castaneda, Sierra Material Testing and Inspection, Stacy Garcia, Supertech Plumbing, the Airport LLC, Teresa Bonillas, Torrance Farms and Implements, UBT Trucking, Valley Family Practice Medical Association, W. Dodson Crichton MD, Wilkinson Real Estate, and Yadi Jewelry, and I apologize for any mispronunciations. I'm still very, very tired. I don't have much sleep. Those are the type of community businesses and individuals that made this trip possible, along with everyone else's efforts that I've mentioned. We also have some t-shirts for each of you, because we'd like to thank the board and all of the administration at the CUHS, because we understand that it's all of your efforts that allow the students and Ms. Baker to do what she does. Because obviously if we didn't have the proper permission, so to speak, the proper clearance, we wouldn't be able to take the kids out of school and go on these adventures with the children that will forever form their lives as adults. So we thank you very much for your cooperation and we thank you for your support, past and present and future. With that, I would open up to the rest of the parents, because I know there's a lot of parents here, and that's the other thing. I'd like to thank the parents. There's a lot of parents here that were not chaperones on this trip. There are not on the board at this time, may or may not have been in the past, but again, they support us because they're there at the meetings after work, they're there helping sponsor, and they're there helping fundraise, and God help us, after a year and a half of fundraising, everybody was tired. Am I correct?
Mrs. Negrete, I really had 3 parents drive all the equipment to and from.
And I think one of these here right now, is Terry here?
She's super
She's one of
sick.
the sick ones.
Really sick.
Okay, Mr. Eddie Medina.
He was also not feeling too hot.
They just traveled for how many hours, Eddie?
33 hours.
And on the way back, on the way there?
Same thing, 33
Okay.
hours.
2 of them were sick. They went nonstop except for potty breaks and eating.
That's it.
Because that's how long it takes to get here straight without breaks. And she was running a fever. She has antibiotics now, I hear.
Yeah.
So, and Mr. Velez needs anything, I'm sure we'll help him out as well. But they got here so quickly because they knew that the students needed the instruments tomorrow. So that type of support, and by the way, Mr. Medina is an amazing member of our community, but he doesn't even have a child in the band. He's married to, or he's with someone who used to have a child, because Terry Richardson's son graduated last year, and she's still committed to the band. So that's the type of commitment that we have from the community, and again, Mr. Medina and other parents.
Ms. Negrete, thank you very much. Can we have a round of applause for her? Not only that, she is also going to be a contestant on Dancing with the Stars.
So if she trips in front of me.
I have not practiced and she was very happy. I practiced a little walking. Oh yes, I did do some New Orleans dances.
I saw that on video.
May I approach each member?
Yes, yes.
Okay, mind you, these are as best as we could come up with in short notice, so please forgive us if we get your sizing correct. There will be new orders, and we will go ahead and make sure that each of you get a correct size.
Thank you so much.
If the size is incorrect, and I think I forgot Mr. Childers. All right. Again, thank you to all the parents, and last comment, I promise. The students were amazing. Each of you would have been extraordinarily proud of our kids. Some of our kids are present here. If you were in the band and you marched in New Orleans, can you please stand up? And now most of us gotta go because they gotta go catch up with all the
Well,
homework.
before they leave, our superintendent would like to.
Thank you. Well, I'll be brief. On behalf of the Board of Trustees and the Central Union High School District, I'd like to commend all of you that were involved in this effort. Very, very impressive. I want our school community to know that you not only made El Centro proud, but you made the Imperial Valley proud of all of your efforts. And sitting up here just gives me chills just to think about what you did in representing our school community and the Imperial Valley. The comments that were made on Facebook, the broadcasting said it all, and that is that you make us all very proud. So I want to commend you. I'm very proud to be part of this school community and to be part of this school district with these types of programs and services that we offer our students, and the partnerships that we have with our parents, with our school administrators, with our teachers, and any other volunteer that might not necessarily have students or family members involved in this. But the reason you do this is because you do it for the love of our community, and that speaks volumes of the Imperial Valley and the community that we live in. So thank you very much. I commend your efforts.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else wishing to address this board? If not,
Yeah, my name is Greg Marcus, and I've known Todd for a number of years, and Mr. Moncano, also when he was at the elementary school district. I guess this is sort of the elephant in the room, and I don't know, maybe I didn't receive the instruction that we weren't supposed to discuss this, but in any event, I'm a pastor of a church here, aside from practicing law, since 1982. How many years is that, Mr. Walker? In any event, it cost us a lot of money to go to New Orleans, and it was a lot of work. Some of the parades were quite long. We marched in the Endymion Parade on Saturday night for a total of somewhere between 8 and 12 miles, depending on who you believe. And it wasn't always the most comfortable circumstances that we were enduring. I had to sleep in the same room with Mr. Fulton, who's perfected the art of snowing. So my point is that, it involved a great deal of sacrifice on the part of the chaperones. And then we learned that one of the board members had apparently circulated a statement that the chaperones were drunk. And basically it was actually breakfast when we went to this restaurant. It was 10 o'clock in the morning. Todd knows I'm pastor of a church. I've known him since we started our church 20 years ago. And for that to be said about me, I don't know, maybe it means nothing to anyone else, but for that to be said about me is pretty serious. I mean, it's slander per se in California, as I'm sure Mr. Walker knows, to accuse somebody of drunkenness. In any event, it was a blow to me personally. It was being kicked in the stomach to have one of the board members circulate a rumor like that. And as far as I know, there's been no public apology, no retraction, no censure, nothing. We're just going to ignore it and let it go. I can't let it go. When people come to me and say, well, we heard you guys were all drunk in New Orleans, what am I supposed to say? What am I supposed to tell them? What am I supposed to tell them, Todd?
Well, I would say no. I'm hearing this for the first time. I haven't been on Facebook
Well,
to hear
let me,
that.
well, let me jump on, because it's directed at me.
Okay.
Let me jump in, because it's directed at me.
You want to do it?
No, let me jump in front. The problem with social media is that no one can see the inflection, no one may know you everybody may know the intent. I said something that in retrospect was inappropriate, and I did apologize for it.
It wasn't just inappropriate, it was slanderous.
Well,
Let's just call it what it is. Just admit what it is and I'll forgive you.
I said something in jest that many people took as it being inappropriate. If you wanna call it slanderous, you can call it slanderous.
Is
I
there some
did not-
question in your mind as to whether or not it was?
I did not accuse anybody of being wrong. I did not accuse anybody of being wrong. And immediately, when my friend Monica Negrete took ire with it, I said, I realized that I'd made a mistake. I took down the post, I apologized on the same post. I reached out to Monica because she seemed to be the one who had been the most vocal about it. I called her cell phone and left a message. I called her office and left a message. I left a very hard apology on her, by text. I reached out to one of the band booster presidents and expressed my apology. I apologized to every parent tonight. That was not my intent. I blew it. It was bad. It was a mistake on my part, but it was not my intent to do anything to cause anybody hurt. In an attempt to make a joke, and if you have to explain the joke, it's not funny. It wasn't funny, and a few people, several people, took it as not being funny. I apologize. I apologize. I can't be sorry enough. I apologize.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to address this point?
Jeff Mathis, I reside at 3602 Rebecca Street, and you've already heard the hard work that Mrs. Baker puts in each and every day. She reports the work, and of the board, and of the parents. I just would like to elaborate some of the sentiment of the people of New Orleans. On the plane, we got compliments because such a big group of children were such well-behaved. Same thing at the restaurants, the hotels.
Here.
And that says a lot of our children. This is, by the grace of God, this was my second trip to New Orleans. And I haven't taken a personal vacation in a very long time. But I did take the time off to be with my youngest son. I attended my middle son a few years back. And we were chaperoning quite a few kids. And I do it again tomorrow. Every muscle in my body aches. I think my eyebrows hurt as well. But I would do it because of the experience that these children receive. And again, thank you for the administration who supports this trip. Thank you, Ms. Baker, for your dedication, for your knowledge, for what you transmit to the kids. I know that personally, my kids, they look probably up higher to you than they do to us sometimes. And that's the positive impact that a great instructor has had on our children. And that's all I wanted to communicate.
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez.
My name is Donald Fulton. I'm at 974 Farmer Drive here in El Centro. I want to thank everybody, all my co-workers, if you will, because we were working hard. Thank you for making this this last trip a very wonderful experience, because we did it for the children. We did it so these kids could enjoy something. They learned a lot along the way too. 29 years ago, I went with the band as a senior in high school. I hope that these trips can continue. I hope they can. I had a blast 29 years ago, and I had a blast watching the kids have a blast this time. So thank you, everybody. I just want to give ourselves a round of applause.
Protocol is, so excuse me for my ignorance, but may I say just a couple of comments in response to Mr. Walker's comments about what happened earlier. I didn't want to take up anybody else's time, so if anyone had something else to say, please step up now. I don't want to talk over somebody else's time here. No? Okay. There was a posting, and I believe that the posting was, and I quote, "Kids missing classes, parents boozing it up. I love America." And yes, I did take offense with that. And yes, I did reply, Mr. Walker.
And you should have.
And he did apologize in several different versions. And I was tempted to talk about it tonight, Mr. Walker, but I thought about it long and hard. And it's not about what I took offense with. And I didn't want to sit here and talk about me personally. No offense to Mr. Marcus. Mr. Marcus, I think you're to be commended for your courage. I wanted to talk about the positive things that happened on this trip and about the results that the children see and the hard work that everyone has put into making this trip possible, and what our children reap, the rewards that they get from this trip and from experiences such as this, which is why I didn't speak about it. But now that everyone has said what they needed to say, I wanted to make sure that it was clear what my involvement with that was. And I appreciate your apology, Mr. Walker, because often apologies are not easy to do or to say. So I appreciate that. And with that, I end my comments.
Thank you.